Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Talking Cardboard. This is kind of a special edition here because we are reviewing a brand new game, Kingless. So everybody, this is a special edition of Talking Cardboard, not by the crew we got going on here, me, Church, we got John and Corey. This is special because we are reviewing a brand new game that we got directly from the publisher. Corey, tell us a little bit about Kingless.
Kingless, like Church said, we got it direct from the publisher. The publisher is 219 Games, or just 219. Smaller publisher. Haven't heard of them before, but it is a little card game, kind of a push your luck, a little bit of take that, kind of more of a party style card game that plays 2 to 6 players. We just played it with the 3 of us multiple times. We kept playing it over and over again, but it's pretty much you get a hand of cards. You can play either an item or a dwarf in front of you to end your turn. There's also other event cards that you can play during your turn as well to kind of alter like what you're doing, like making somebody discard a card from in front of them or from out of their hand, and kind of more of that take that style cards. But pretty much what you're doing with those items and dwarfs that you're playing in front of you is they all have a value associated to them as well. And basically the first player to play down 5 of those items or dwarfs in front of them will trigger the end of the game. And whoever has the most value added up out of all the cards is the winner of the game. That's about it. Yeah, just a really small card game.
Yeah, it's quick, it's short, there's a lot of take that action going on. The only, big flaw that I've seen is that John wins almost every time.
So far, yeah.
So, John, tell us about that. Tell us about strategy and winning this game.
I actually am really a big fan of card games like this, like the party card game type genre. Big fan of like what this kind of reminds me of is Love Letter to an extent. Obviously, you have a hand of 5 cards in this game, other than just having the one static card. But there's a lot of like planning out with the events and the dwarfs in your hand and the special abilities that come with them on how you want to play the cards, and then also what to kind of save up for the end of the game once that last round's triggered. That's very powerful if you can get some of the really good cards, like the bribe card where you can just take someone else's dwarf and add them to your side of the play area. Like that can swing the points in your favor so easily. And there's a lot of cool little interactions like that I think make this game really interesting. And now that we've played it a few times, you kind of see how the different cards work together. Or like when you play one card, you're allowed to claim another card off the table or from someone's hand. And just seeing all those interactions are really cool, and I think add a lot to this game.
Yeah, it's a fun little game. We've played through it, like 8 or 9 times or so. And yeah, and
it's quick.
Yeah, playtime is what, about 15, 20 minutes? Yeah, so there's references to a lot of cards, like John said, where you can be stealing or recruiting or tossing specific cards in play, and then it makes the game more dynamic. There's, as far as we've been able to tell, there's no like dominant card that even the bribe, that other people have bribes, or you can, stop or halt, you can interrupt.
Yep.
So it's a lot of that kind of rebuffing some of that take that. It's fast and it's pretty interesting. And one cool mechanic they have is after the game is over, the person who wins gets a special card.
The King's Crown.
The King's Crown. It should be called John's Crown. And then whoever finished with the least amount of points gets the Jester's...
The Fool's Hat.
Fool's Hat, yep. Fool's Hat. So then that changes the starting for the next game. That the King's Crown, they go first, and the Fool's Hat, they have to give their highest influence card, their highest rated card, to the king, and then the king gives a card of their choice to the Fool, and then you just play as normal. So that's pretty cool, and it's a good mechanism to, well, now we have to play this game again,
Right.
Because now I've got the King's Crown, and you've got the Fool's Hat, so then it really kind of triggers that, well, now we have to play again and again. So yeah, that was a really cool little feature. It was the artwork in this is nice and fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really creative, and some of the card names and things like that are kind of cute and fun and engaging. Yeah.
Very nicely produced. Linen finished cards, very nice quality. Artwork is fantastic. Like I was saying a little bit earlier, haven't heard of the publisher before, haven't heard of the designers or the artists or anything like that, but they did a fantastic job in the overall production of it, even though it's just a deck of cards. But some of my other pros to this game would be that I typically don't like the like take that style games, but this game is so quick so light, so lighthearted and fun that it is a lot of fun. And it, like you were saying with the King's Crown and the Fool's Hat, really makes you kind of want to invent your own game type to this game,
Right.
where you have to, like, best out of 5 games, you tally up your total score at the end of each game, and whoever is the highest total score at the end of 5 games is the overall winner, because you're just, rattling this game off so quickly. Play it for 45 minutes to an hour or however long you want, and yeah, it's fun how you can kind of tailor it to be what you want it to be.
Yeah, and it's got just enough theme where it's not abstract and like
Right.
these cards don't make any sense, but it's not heavy with a theme. It's just enough, and hanging out at a tavern, and we were able to hang out as we're playing it. And,
Yeah.
And we think that with 4 or 5 people, it'd be a really fun dynamic
Right.
game. With 6, it might get a little chaotic.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a fun, easy to learn, and then get in the flow of type of game.
That, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it definitely felt like we were just sitting down at a pub or at the table at a tavern, just playing a card game. And I don't know. I mean, I would assume it was intentional to create the game like that, to make it have that atmosphere. But it makes you feel like you're just having a beer with your friends and saying take that once in a while and having fun with it.
Yeah.
But not just that, though. It's not just a take that, pure take that game. There are some strategies involved with it too. There's a little bit added depth, which I really enjoyed with it.
Yeah, that's some of the cards that can combo off of, putting a dwarf in the gutter, then you get to draw cards, or if you play an item, then you get to play another card, and so just little ways that you can have just the hint of engine without it being too long of a
Right.
game.
And I like when games reward you for holding back and seeing what's going to happen too, instead of it being a wasted turn. If you hold back in this game, you get to draw an additional card at the end of your turn for not doing anything and just passing, and that might be a good strategy too, just to kind of see what other people are playing. And if you're holding cards that are kind of more board wipe cards, where you're getting rid of one card in front of all the players, it might be kind of fun to hold back, see what they're going to do, and then wipe the board, start fresh, and now you have maybe a couple card advantage over them just for hanging back a little while.
Yeah, I definitely found that was the case.
That was cool.
Yep.
Yeah, John, what were any strategies that you were able to pick up real quick?
I don't know if there's any real strategies. Obviously, getting cards in your hand, and kind of like Corey was saying, holding back is definitely very valuable. I mean, there's certain cards that I got early on that I was like, okay, this is going to be really good for that last round after the end game's triggered. And holding on to like those bribes or those stops and halts for that situation, so that you can end in a winning position no matter what happens. I think that was really important. And then obviously, when I saw that, I can't remember what the dwarf's name is, but he was the 10 power. Corey, or you played him on your table, and it's like immune to gutter. And it's like, oh man, how do you get rid of this guy? And then I stumbled upon that fancy bribe card. I'm like, he's immune to gutter, but not to claim.
Yeah.
So I will just steal him to my side of the table. And it's like, dang, that is a big power shift.
Yep.
So I think things like that are really cool, where you have to think a little more on how to work around some of the cards in the game.
Yeah, but it definitely is not too heavy where it takes a lot of mental effort to figure out your lanes or your strategies, and there's enough counterbalance because there are a bunch of different stop or hold cards that can be not today type of thing.
Or someone can just bribe them right back.
Yep.
Another thing that I thought was really powerful is being the one to trigger the end game and therefore get to take the very last turn.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That is different than most games in that usually when the end game is triggered, then everybody else gets one more turn or you finish the round. But in this game, everybody gets one more turn, including the person who triggered the end game.
Yep.
And then that's kind of having the hammer where you get to then make sure you save just enough to keep everybody away.
And I thought that was a crucial design decision on the designer's part to do it that way, because like we just said, it makes it you triggering the end of the game even that much more powerful.
Yeah.
And you want to get to that end game at that not only the right time, but almost a race to get there. So you get that last turn.
Yeah,
too.
and every time we've played this, the game's always been a little bit different. And
Yep.
even though most of the end results were the same with John winning, every game seemed like it was a little bit different. We saw some new cards. We saw a couple maybe more combos, things like that. It's a fun, cute little game.
it also has one of the best ways to decide the starting player the first time you play that I've ever seen. And I think more games should do it this way.
Well, how do you decide first player?
So since there is a dwarf theme to this game, the shortest player actually gets to go first due to their dwarven heritage. So,
Which is exactly what it says in the rule book.
Yep.
So
Genius.
as a couple of people who are above average height, And then John, your Dwarven heritage, finally you can be proud of it.
Exactly.
I mean, we're going to keep this review short because the game is short. So let's go right into our final BGG reviewing on a scale of 0 to 10. John, what score would you give this game?
So just thinking about this game and the genre it fits is kind of like that party filler game type thing. But for what it is, I would say this is probably an 8 for me at least. It's definitely a game I've enjoyed so far. It's a game I'd recommend to others to play. And if you're looking for that, like I said, that short filler game, or you just want to bring it to a party night or something, like this is probably going to be perfect. It's easy to teach, easy to learn, and quick to play. So it kind of checks all those boxes.
Yeah, I really agree, especially, you can see behind us John's library, and we usually are playing a lot of heavier or 2 or 3 hour games, and this can fit right in. Like after that, if we want to palate cleanse, just play a couple of rounds of this, nice and simple and light, but still it scratches that strategy itch. So I'd give it about like an 8 or an 8.5 because
honestly, once we start playing with more people too, I think that could affect like the enjoyment level. So
so 8 or 8.5. I'm really glad that we have this little one to kind of add to our collection. So Corey, what would you rate it at?
With me, my overall kind of conclusion is circling back to what John said earlier with this game does remind me of Love Letter. Back when I first played the Love Letter style of game, I wasn't really warm to it. I didn't really enjoy it that much, but I have played it more and more since, and I'm kind of coming around to more of the, okay, this is a filler style game. I know what it's here to do, and I've been enjoying that style game more, and I think this is almost, dare I say, a replacement for Love Letter. I think it's a really good alternative at the very least, if not a replacement to Love Letter in that style of game. And yeah, short, quick, simple to play. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10 because it is just, it sets out to do exactly what it's meant to do, and it does it well. And a lot of games can go the other way on it too. A lot of games try to be something they're not. This game knows what it wants to be, and it kind of evolved from the beginning stages of a pure take that game that you would have seen maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So yeah, 8.5.
Excellent. So from all of us here at Talking Cardboard, it seems like we're giving this a really strong endorsement for Kingless. Until next time, play some games.